Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now, if you can remember, yesterday we discussed some part of this sutta, which is available in Samyutta Nikaya, and it is called Upanisa Sutta. Now, Upanisa, the term Upanisa literally means the proximate cause, the recent cause, the almost the, say, closest or nearest cause. Now, actually in this sutta, the causality is highlighted, and again the kind of mundane and supramundane, both paths are very much like integrated. Now, probably you have heard about the Paticcasamuppada, the causality, and most of the time, typically the growing side or the arising side, the samudaya, arising side is highlighted, or the opposite, the nirodha side, the cessation side is highlighted. Now, that is the typical approach in the normal Paticcasamuppada many suttas have taken. So the conditionality is explained and the causality is explained, and we are getting around 12 links explaining avijja paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnanam, vijnana paccaya nama rupam. So likewise we are going through the whole suffering. At the end of the cycle, what we have is the sort of suffering. Jati jara marana soka parideva dukkha domanassu payasa sambhavanti. So that is basically the whole set of suffering. On the other hand, the opposite is sometimes mentioned. If there is no kind of avijja, then there is no kind of ignorance. Then there is no formation, sankhara. If there is no sankhara, then there is no consciousness. If there are no consciousness, then there is no name and form. So likewise, the opposite side, the cessation side is highlighted. But still continue, with respect to the mundane aspect. But the beauty of this Upanisa Sutta is where Buddha highlights some supramundane side also with some conditionality. So let me first of all go through the aspects with some Pali terms. So this sutta starts with actually the very end result. That is the kind of a supramundane knowledge called Kaya Jnana, the cessation knowledge, where one is having the all different kinds of asavas, stains are now eradicating, fading away, releasing. So that is why asavakkaya. So Kaya Jnana, asavakkaya Jnana. So Buddha mentioned it is with a proximate cause. It doesn't happen automatically, it is with an approximate cause. And then he asked, what is the approximate cause? Then Buddha mentioned that is the vimutti, the release, freedom is the vimutti. And then he asked, vimutti, the freedom, is also with the approximate cause. What is the cause for that? It is called the viraga, dispassion. Then he mentioned viraga, dispassion is also with the approximate cause. That is the disenchantment, nibbida. And then he mentioned nibbida also is with the proximate cause. That is called yathabhuta jnana dassana. That is the having proper understanding. Things as they truly are. So that is the knowledge, proper understanding. Then he mentioned that proper understanding also with the proximate cause. What is that? That is a samadhi. Concentration. So you need to have concentration. Without concentration you can't get this proper knowledge, proper understanding, wisdom. And then Buddha mentioned the samadhi, concentration, is also with the proximate cause. What is that? Buddha mentioned the sukha, happiness, the pleasure. So this also is a proximate cause for the generation of concentration. So therefore this pleasure or this happiness is the proximate cause for the generation of concentration. And then he is mentioning the pleasure or the happiness is also with the proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for the sukha, the happiness? So that is the cause Buddha mentioned as the passaddhi, tranquility. Tranquility is the proximate cause for having this sukha, happiness. Then he mentioned passaddhi, tranquility is also with the proximate cause. So I have a great list, you have to be patient. Huh? The very early morning I mentioned about patience, now you have to develop it. So there's a huge list is there. So the tranquility is also with the proximate cause. So that is the piti, rapture is the proximate cause for passaddhi. Then piti, this rapture is also with the proximate cause, and that is called pamojja, joy. Joy is the proximate cause. And then pamojja is also with the arise due to a proximate cause, that is called saddha, faith. So faith is the proximate cause for having this pamojja or the joy. Then interestingly, saddha also has a proximate cause. What is that? Suffering. Suffering is the proximate cause for having saddha. And then Buddha mentioned suffering has a cause, proximate cause, that is birth, jati. Jati also has a proximate cause, that is becoming bhava. Now we are coming to the formal knowing area where bhava has a proximate cause, becoming has a proximate cause, that is the upadana, the grasping. Grasping has a proximate cause, that is craving, tanha. Tanha has a proximate cause, that is vedana. Vedana has a proximate cause, what is that? Contact, passa. Contact has a proximate cause, what? Salayatana. Salayatana, okay? Salayatana is the proximate cause. Salayatana also has a proximate cause. What is that? Name and form, Namarupa. Namarupa has a proximate cause. Vijnana, consciousness is the proximate cause. Vijnana has a, so that vijnana, which type of vijnana? Conditioned consciousness, right? It has a, so this also is conditioned, it also therefore has a cause. What is that? Sankhara, formations, fabrications. So we do all those constructions, sankhara. So that is the proximate cause for this conditioned consciousness. So sankhara also has a proximate cause. What is that? Avijja, ignorance. That ends the list. Now you can see in this Upanisa Sutta, so the typical generation of dukkha, that is the mundane type of conditionality, is also there. And the latter part, the next cycle, is actually the supramundane path, the spiritual path, where one is developing Vipassana. That is the more spiritual aspect, that is also there. So Buddha hasn't stopped, as we usually know, we end up with the suffering. Jati, jara, marana, soka, parideya, dukkha, dopana, supayasa, sambandha. So that whole spectrum of suffering. So that is the end typically we have. But Buddha, starting from suffering, he continues the supramundane path, highlighting the conditionality in this supramundane path as well. So you can understand, therefore, this conditionality in that sense is a kind of a causal reaction that we are following in order to achieve non-conditionality. So ultimately what we are realizing is some sort of unconditioned, say asankhata, but till that it's a kind of a sankhata. So we are going through some sort of a conditioned phenomena, but ultimately one may realize unconditioned, unbound, release, non-grasping. In other terms, the Nibbana. So we can't say it is a conditioned phenomena, but the path leading to realize Nibbana is conditioned. So it's a kind of a cause and effect relationship. Actually, it is not only in this sutta, there are many suttas. Buddha really highlights this conditionality, cause and effect relationship in the spiritual life. So let me get some other examples. There is one sutta called Parisa Sutta. So there Buddha explain different kinds of groups. So there are kind of very peaceful groups. They are living cordially, helping each other, kind of a peaceful groups. Another group is they are hating each other, troubling, quarreling, arguing, another group. But on the other hand, here Buddha highlights the kind of the peaceful group. There Buddha mentioned Bhikkhu Samagga Sammodamana Avivadamana Khirodaki Bhuta Anyamanyam Piyachakkuhi Sampassanta Viharanti. Now this is a very interesting phrase Buddha uses to highlight the group when we are having colleagues, spiritual friends, when we meditate together, when we are working as a group. Certain aspects Buddha highlights here is important in the retreat environment, because having these kinds of qualities, actually we can see how beneficial. So what are the things Buddha highlights? Samagga, they are very peaceful, no quarrels. Sammodamana, so they are having some mutual appreciation. Say when someone is meditating, you have kind of an appreciative joy. So he's also trying to develop, she's also trying to develop. So you have that appreciative joy. Avivadamana, there are no arguments. And then Buddha giving a very beautiful simile, Khirodaki Bhuta. Now you know when you are preparing a tea, how difficult it is to solve or dissolve milk powder with hot water. Is it difficult? Once it is properly mixed, is it having any issues? No issues, right? They are very beautifully blended, right? Nowadays we have milk powder, but if we take real fresh milk, then no problem at all. Adding water is nothing. It properly get diluted and it properly get mixed. So Buddha gives this as a simile, very beautifully blending. Khirodaki Bhuta. Like this blending like milk and water. So you can't now even separate. Everybody is very much like a group. They are really blended. Khirodaki Bhuta. Anyamanyam Piyachakkuhi Sampassanta Viharanti. So you are looking at another person with a Piyachakku. Piyachakku means, with kind eyes. So you are kind of appreciative joy and looking at another yogi, another spiritual friend, your colleague, another person who is trying to strive in the path with a Piyachakku, with a very pleasant eyes, appreciative joy. And we can't actually undermine these kinds of qualities, because Buddha mentioned when this kind of a blend is available, when this kind of group is available, Buddha mentioned as a result of that, Bahu Punyam Pasavanti. So that group generates a lot of merit. Because the opportunities are there to help another person, to appreciate another person, to have kind of rejoicing in yourself, seeing another person is meditating, seeing another person is developing, he too is diligent in the practice. So that helps to generate your own punya. You are developing kind of a joy, rejoicing. So punya is nothing but the rejoice. When someone else has done something good, so you are having the same connectivity with that person, so you are also joyful about another person's merit. That is how we transfer merit, right? We are inviting another person to be rejoiced with what I did. I have done something good, so inviting another person to be joyful by sharing my merit. So these are very, very beautiful human qualities that Buddha is trying to highlight. And Pahupunyam Pasavanti, so they have the now kind of merit power getting developed. And Mudita Cheto Vimutti, now they have very kind of a pleasant, rejoice, appreciative joy, altruistic joy among themselves. It is not that one is jealous of another person's growth, rather you rejoice in another person's growth. You are able to appreciate another person's growth in the spiritual path. Now typically, if we come to the typical mundane life, when someone is developing materially, say he got a lottery, can you rejoice? Say today someone has got a lottery for diesel. Can you rejoice? So you are in the late for 5 days now, but the other fellow came by a intercooler and he just got gallons of diesel. Can you rejoice? Very difficult. Can you? Then lot of troubles. I mean, people are quarreling and arguing, and few people are in the hospital. Can't rejoice. I mean, there are enough reasons to be angry. So in the material terms, so we are putting a lot of restrictions. You have to go in the proper order, you have to follow all these restrictions. Otherwise people quarrel. But on the other hand, say when someone is successful in something, maybe in education, maybe in their career, in their profession, whatever it is. So if you are able to have some rejoice, if you are able to have appreciative joy, so very kind of going against the grain. So we typically have kind of a jealousy, avarice, that's kind of a approach. But having joy, having mudita, altruistic joy instead, is a kind of going against the grain. Now on the other hand, this mudita is another very interesting quality, because the one who has the capacity to rejoice, he is a happy person. But on the other hand, a person who can only be happy by their own growth, by their own success, has very limited happiness. Why is that? Because we can't be successful every day, no? Because very rarely we may be getting promotion. Very rarely nowadays you get electricity. Fortunately now we have. So likewise, so things are very rare now. So if you are to be rejoice only with your comfort, with your own happiness, with your own success, so you have a very narrow kind of a area to be happy. But assume that you have a lot of friends and they are getting happy, they are successful, so then you can be happy, right? I mean, they are your friends, okay? Your friend is happy, your son is winning a race, your son is selected to the university, he is becoming successful. Then you can be happy as parents. How about another one's child? He is passing a scholarship, he is being selected to the university. Can you be happy? Why can't you be happy? So if you can be happy, so you have another opportunity to be happy. I mean, isn't it? So it is not just because of your child getting successful for you to be happy, but when someone else's child getting successful, still if you can be happy, you have more opportunities to be happy. So likewise, in a more peaceful environment, more joyful environment, that indicates you can share someone else's success. And then you are having a very kind of a joyful heart. So you are a happy person then. You have a lot of opportunities to be happy. So that is why Buddha mentioned, so when such group is available, more possibility, more potential is there for this mudita, appreciative joy. It doesn't stop there. Buddha takes it further. So when that joy is there, rapture is arising. Rapture is there. So you can grow that to the level that rapture is there. Piti. Now we can connect back to the same list. Buddha is taking to the same list. When Piti is there, kayo pasambati. So you feel the bodily comfort, you feel you are tranquil and comfortable. So that is there in the body. You feel it to the body. And when kaya pasambana is there, that means bodily comfort is there. Now you feel comfortable, you feel pleasurable, you feel happiness. The happiness, sukha is there. Sukhino chittan samadhyati. Then the concentration happens. The mind gets concentrated. When mind gets concentrated, then we can connect to the previous list. The concentration helps us to have the understanding. So you are using that concentrated mind to realize things as they truly are. When things you are able to realize properly, then the disenchantment leads to dispassion. Dispassion leads to release, vimutti. Vimutti, when established for long time, practice again and again, asavas are fading away. So you can see, even in this kind of a situation, when a group, colleagues, a human group, is living very cordially to each other, helping each other, having that kind of a mentality, so it has a lot of benefits. So this is one example. We can see the causality. Let me take another example. Buddha say 9 kinds of great helps in Dasuttara Sutta. So there Buddha mentioned one aspect called Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara is where you are, rather than simply doing kind of surface surveillance, so you are able to penetrate your attention. You are going deeper. You are going to the source. So there Buddha mentioned, when Yoniso Manasikara is there, still you can have joy. When joy is there, rapture. When rapture is there, the bodily tranquility. When tranquility is there, again the sukha. When sukha is there, then the samadhi, concentration. Samadhi is there, then the jnana dassana. So likewise, the same list follows. And let me take another list. So there's another beautiful sutta called Cetana Karaniya Sutta. So there, Buddha takes the morality. When morality is available, so it produces non-regret. You don't have any regrets, because you once you look back about your own life, so you haven't done anything wrong in the recent past. So you are also quite comfortable about yourself, and you haven't done anything wrong to another person. So you are you have no regrets. So therefore it has results. So typically we can't see much results even though we are practicing sila. I mean, people are observing sila, but they don't know the real result. So result is where, your mind is now free from any regrets. So actually we need to understand the Dhamma in order to appreciate what we do. So it is difficult sometimes to maintain morality, but even when we are developing morality, if we don't know the product, if we don't know the result, we can't really appreciate what we do. But when we know exactly, if we consider our mind, when compared to say 5 years when I am neglecting morality, but if I am now more concerned about my virtues, morality, if I reflect my mind, how it is behaving now, probably you don't have much regrets. Because in the past, you have done this and that, and you have a lot of regrets. You are accusing yourself, and some others also accusing you. But now when you are more virtuous, there may not be such accusations. There may not be any kind of regrets. So your mind become more and more satisfied. So you have what you call the anavajja sukha. So in the way you spend your life is becoming kind of a blessing to yourself and to the others. So non-regret is a result of virtues, result of morality. And here actually another beautiful thing is Buddha mentioned, you don't even have to think in order to have non-regret if you are developing morality. It's a cause and effect relationship. These causes are very much like automatic. You don't need to think about it. I mean, let non-regret arise, let non-regret arise. You don't need to think like that. You don't need to wish for non-regret. But if you are maintaining proper morality, non-regret is automatically available. It's a cause and effect relationship. When non-regret is there, you don't need to think, let the joy arise, let the joy arise. No need to think, joy arise. It's a cause and effect relationship. When joy is there, rapture. When rapture is there, the same thing now again repeating. Buddha mentioned the kayampi passambade, chittampi passambade, your body get tranquil, your mind become tranquil, then the sukha, the happiness is available. When happiness is available, then the concentration available. When concentration is available, yathabodha jnana dassana, you are able to properly understand. So likewise, go on and on. So again, the cause and effect. So what I want to highlight is typical mundane suffering also cause and effect. Even the spiritual path is based on this kind of a stepwise process. So going through that sort of a stepwise process is more systematic, more gradual, and less prone to errors. But if we are trying to jump to another thing, then very unlikely that we are able to sustain that, because enough other causes are not properly satisfied. So that is why, developing even mindfulness systematically is quite useful, other than trying to jump to a future effect immediately. It may take, of course, a lot of time, long time, but when you are developing it slowly, then of course I'm confident. You have gone through a lot of experience. You have your own experience, and you know how to tackle various situations. And that is one example in the walking meditation. Now, in walking meditation, so you are developing it with troubles, with challenges. So for a beginner, it may be even difficult, because you are in a kind of sometimes in a noisy environment, and your eyes are open, and there are other yogis who are also walking. You have to look in the front, and sounds are also available. At the same time, how about aiming my mind properly to the leg, aiming my mind properly to the foot? So it's a kind of challenge. So as you are slowly developing it, by the way, by going through these challenges, overcoming all these challenges, so then the samadhi, what you are gaining, is more powerful. It will last for a long time, unlike the sitting meditation. So in the sitting meditation, you are more kind of a restricted environment. You are cross-legged, eyes are closed, no movements, in a very comfortable posture. You expect the complete silence. You are searching for such very silent place. But whenever door open, boom, gone, samadhi gone. But in the walking environment, so you are ready for this. Even when distractions are there, you are able to properly aim your mind. Among many challenges, you are able to have that concentration. That's why Buddha mentioned Chankamadi gato samadhi chirattitiko hoti. The concentration that you are gaining through walking meditation will last for a long time. So likewise, when you are slowly developing and trying to achieve these spiritual qualities slowly, gradually, systematically, so it's very unlikely that you go wrong, because the necessary conditions are always properly blooming, gradually growing. Now again, if you come back to this Upanisa Sutta, now if we take ourselves back to the discussion, let me take the typical mundane growing of suffering. So that is the typical Patissamuppada. Avidya pacca sankara, sankara pacca vijnanam, vijnana pacca namarupam, namarupa pacca salayatanam, salayatana pacca passo, passa pacca vedana, vedana pacca tanha, tanha pacca upadanam, upadana pacca baho, baho pacca jati, jati pacca jaramaranam, soka parideva, dukkha domanassa upayasa sambhavanti, evametassa kevalassa dukkha kandassa samudayo hoti. End product is what? Suffering. Bunch of suffering. Evametassa kevalassa dukkha kandassa samudayo hoti. Not a limited little amount, huge amount of suffering. Start with ignorance. Avidya pacca sankhara. Now if we little go deeper, now actually today even during the discussion we have discussed So when we are able to maintain a mind free from grasping, where is ignorance? Now say upadana paccaya bhava, right? So that means, so we have stopped that bhava, becoming. So if while you are maintaining non-grasping state, you want to become someone, then what happens? So we are breaking this, right? So upadana paccaya bhava, but while you are maintaining non-grasping, so you should not generate bhava. I mean, if it is properly done, if your mind is non-grasping, it can't generate bhava. It can't make you go into a kind of becoming process. So becoming is a product of or result of grasping. When the mind is ready to grasp, then it becomes something. It becomes someone. But the opposite, when mind is non-grasping, that means it can't manifest as a someone, something. There is no birth. You are no more becoming at that time. So if you are to properly in the non-grasping state, so we should not promote bhava. We should not promote bhavatanha. We should not promote thinking another level, another position, another state. Then only we can say, I am 100% fully enjoying, fully satisfied in this non-grasping state. So we have to, in a way, we have to very carefully and understand, very carefully analyze these levels, because upadana paccaya bhava, whenever there is grasping, that directly bring you to another state. Let me give an example. Now suppose you are a little bored about the situation, and now mind is asking, let me have a cup of tea, let me have a cup of tea. When am I going to have a cup of tea? When am I going to have a cup of tea? So it's asking, right? It's asking. So then you are imagining, oh, cup of tea, cup of tea. So you want to become a person who is enjoying cup of tea. So mentally you are preparing that state. You want to become a person enjoying that cup of tea. And you get up and you go and prepare the cup of tea, and now you are enjoying it. You're promoted by this bhavatanha, promoted by that desire, always generated from deep, from your heart, from your mind, to have something. So then you are born in that state, while you assume that you close your eyes, a little bit of tea, enjoying it, another little bit of tea, enjoying it. So you are there, you are born. You know Ceylon tea? Very tasty. So you are enjoying. So you are that. You have become that. I mean, even though these little things, very little things, mundane things, ordinary things, we are that. We are enjoying that. We are in that tasty world. Right? So that's why, you can't beat the taste that people are telling, no? I can remember the sort of old advertisement. You can't beat the taste. There's a kind of advertisement I can remember. I don't know what are the things now available. So anyway, so when you are enjoying some sort of a flavor, kind of a taste, so you have become that, fully absorbed to that. So you have born in that. That is the jati. So you are born into a different condition, new condition. So the grasping has caused the becoming, bhava, and you are born into that level. Now you are there. So you go through the all viparinama, go through those ups and downs and all these things, and ultimately it ends up then back to the bored state. That's the end of the episode. Gone, done. Back to the boredom. Now you can see, so this bhavatanha in a way internally appearing internally promoting, triggering, but it manifests as a sensual desire. So I want to have a tea. That is the kama tanha. So kama tanha is more, gross form. You can quickly recognize that kama tanha. But the bhava tanha operating that, the bhava state, upadana paccaya bhava, so very subtle. But when you are very carefully observing the mind, you can recognize, okay, there's a kind of a desire always. I feel I am not comfortable. I feel something lacking. I want to have something. I need that. So that's kind of a little trigger, always, yearning for something. So when you are in non-grasping state, if this kind of a yearning available, then you are ruining the situation. So that's why, if you want to really maintain that non-grasping state, so don't ruin that state. Asking something. When am I going to do this? What am I going to do next? Where am I going? What am I going to get by just being? So those are all unnecessary questions in that sense. So we are in a way underestimating these states. We are underestimating the non-grasping state. So actually we have gone through a lot of practice. As a result of that practice, we were able to, at least for temporary, say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we are able to achieve this non-grasping state of mind. But if we are underestimating that, asking for something, then we are not really getting the full-fledged benefit of that. We are not allowing it to fully, integrate, fully enjoy that, consolidate that. So in order to properly consolidate that non-grasping state, just be. It's utterly simple, by the way. So we can't appreciate that simplicity. We didn't even expect it is so simple. So when you go through all these, say, practice arising and passing away, this panya, that panya, this inside, that inside, all difficult terms, in Pali terms, that jnana, this jnana. But ultimately, you are just simple, and you are just a non-grasping state. You didn't even believe, it's so, under nose. Isn't it? So then your mind asks, is this the one that I expected? Is this the result that I expected? Your mind will question. So that's why, some teachers are telling, we are missing Nibbana because it is so simple. There's a beautiful story, I think in the Baka Brahma and the Buddha has a kind of a conversation. And at that time, they are challenging now. Baka Brahma is challenging the Buddha. So I am going to hide so that you can't find me. Hide and seek. So then Buddha say, okay, now you hide. So he is finding in different places, and everywhere Buddha can see him. Then now the opportunity for the Buddha. Boom, he can't find. The Baka Brahma can't find. I think he simply has gone inside or somewhere. Very simple way Buddha did it. So because our mind is so complex, we are complicating things. We never appreciate the simplicity. We can't just be. We didn't expect it to be that simple. So when the mind becomes so non-grasping, so it is just the pure awareness. It's just an awareness is there. No more becoming. Since it is non-grasping, no more becoming. No more becoming represent, no more questions. Just be. So if we come back, so non-grasping. So how to have non-grasping then? No craving. You can't have craving. So when the mind has let go of that, that means you have relinquished. So no craving. So assume that there's a pleasure available, kind of a happy feeling arising. So typically what we have is the tanha. There's a beautiful, pleasant something. So I typically crave for that, right? Because it's a very pleasurable, more happy, enjoyable. enjoyable. So I like to have it. I want it. I want to possess it. So the craving is there. So whenever Vedana arises, if it is joyful, pleasurable, happy, then I want to have. So the typically tendency is to have craving. But on the other hand, if we are able to look at feeling as feeling, suppose you are developing Vedananupassana, as we discussed previously. Now say different feelings are rising. Now assume that you develop some amount of anapanasati or rising and falling, say walking meditation. With that you are able to develop some amount of concentration, mindfulness. Now you are in the Vedananupassana. Now different feelings are rising. Now you are able to look at it objectively. Are you craving? So the painful feelings, of course, you are not craving. But for the pleasurable feelings, now actually, immediately may not, you can't have that balance. But slowly, as we are developing again and again, Vedananupassana, I am just taking one example. So there, what happens is, so rather than thinking, typically what we understand is, okay, there's a pleasurable feeling arising, it lasts for say 5 minutes, and now it is fading away. Another pleasurable feeling arises, it is lasting for 4 minutes, now it is fading away. So that may be the, say, earlier stage of understanding. But later, what happens? So you are looking more closely, investigating very precisely, with very sharp mindfulness, very sharp concentration. Then it is no more kind of a continuous thing, rather it's a bunch of feelings, right? It's a group of feelings, accumulation of feelings. It has thousands of minute feelings. Now you are able to look at even that minute feeling. Does it last 4 minutes? Does it last 5 minutes? No, it's very instantaneous. If you are able to look at each and every minute feeling, it is instantaneous. It is only for the painful feelings. It is common to pleasurable feelings. It is common to equanimous feelings. Then how are you going to categorize? Then how are we naming? Okay, this is a pleasurable thing, this is a painful thing, this is an equanimous thing. So when you know more truth about feelings, then everything very much like mixed up. It's a mere feeling. You can't give a name to that. So previously we used to have, okay, this I consider as a pleasure, this I consider as a pain, this I consider as a equanimity. Now this is also somewhat subjective. Now suppose you are a person who like to have a coffee with some hot, it's at some higher temperature. Assume that you are given a little warm coffee, not that with high temperature. Are you going to enjoy that? Not that much, because you expected a very boiled coffee, but it's not that hot, so you are not really happy about it. Suppose your son is with you, he prefer to have, it's a little fellow, no, he can't drink or like you. So he prefer to have somewhat, say, less temperature, less high temperature. He may enjoy it, isn't it? So then the pleasure is also subjective. So when you are going through Vedananupassana, so more and more, so the value additions that you have given, so all these preconditioning that you had, now slowly eliminated, and now everything become mere feelings. Now you can't categorize whether it is happy, or this is painful, this is equanimous, but everything consists of minute feelings. They are very instantaneous, impermanent, constantly they arise and pass away. So can you have craving for that? You can't, right? So the real understanding, therefore, understanding about the, say, feelings here allows you not to have any grasping, not to have craving. So feelings are there, but now craving is not there. No craving is there, no grasping is there. Upadana is not there. Now you can simply look at feelings. Feelings are there, but you can simply watch, distant observation. No craving, no grasping, no becoming, no arising into the another state. So where are you? Where is I? So you can't have an I there, no? I mean, processes are there, feelings are there, the kind of observation is also there. There is no craving, no grasping, no becoming, no jati, no birth, no suffering there. So likewise, time to time we are breaking this cycle. So we don't need to expect to come to the real highest level to understand the non-grasping. But whenever you are able to have this distant observation without grasping even a feeling, pleasurable feelings typically we grasp, but at this level, assume at least for 10 minutes now you are with a very balanced mind, you have proper equanimity, you are not grasping even a pleasurable feeling, but even now you can't perceive it as a pleasurable feeling, but what you perceive is just a mere feeling. And they are also arising and passing away. You see the things as they truly are. Then the non-grasping, no craving. Feelings are there, but you are with the more reality. So the no suffering in that sense. Equanimity is there. So now typically, because of contact, feelings are arising. Now you are in the region of, say, feelings, but you can look at the passa as well, contact as well, the touching sensation. That also you can look at. And you can look at all the 6 senses, say, while you are looking at forms using your eyes. When you are hearing sounds, you can observe that. Through the nose, when you are observing various odors, you can observe that. Taste you can observe, bodily, these tangibles you can observe. So you can even apply the experience, or rather the practice, to all the 6 senses also. Ayatana. So there also you can, have a lot of rich area for your practice. You don't need to really limit to anapanasati or rising and falling, etc. But rather if we are skillful, probably, if necessary, you can do this as well. So that's why Ayatana Bhavana, say in Dhammanupassana. So Buddha takes us to the sense basis. Whenever you see something, so are we able to recognize the arising of any defilement? So defilement arise means that we have gone to a little far. We did some sort of grasping, had kind of a craving. We couldn't stop at the seeing level. But if we are able to stop at the seeing level, then can't have any suffering. Because if for us to have any suffering, then has to have grasping. Has to have grasping, then has to have craving. So likewise, we can look back and recognize all this conditionality. So simply, rather than say practicing, if we apply yoniso manasikara and look at the whole situation, actually kind of a rich field is available to develop wisdom. So therefore, looking at this conditionality is a little, we can say, rich field. Understanding conditionality is rich field to develop vipassana, to develop wisdom. And it may not be the early stage. At the very early stage, simply you are recognizing various characteristics, element characteristics, maybe just merely as, say, feelings, etc. But if you are able to carefully investigate, probably you can understand what is the cause of it. Passapacchaya Vedana is a very interesting link you can investigate through your practice. Actually, just to give a very rough example, now when your foot is up, you don't have much feeling, maybe equanimous. But when you are touching the ground, of course you can feel the gross feeling. But more closely you analyze, then it is not just a single gross feeling, but a collection of feelings. Contact has caused many feelings. Then again, it's not a single contact. Say, if I have 5 fingers, I am touching the ground with all 5 fingers. So each and every finger is now touching, right? So each and every finger touching causes 5 feelings. So similarly, so there are conducive contacts with which corresponding feeling arise. Tajjang tajjang passang panicca tajjang tajjang vedana upajjati. So when that particular contact is there, that corresponding feeling is arising. So likewise, there are another rich area for us to understand this conditionality. So rather than merely looking at feeling, if we are able to carefully look at what are the causes, how it is arising, what is conditioning it, probably we may be able to understand the puzzle, the contact. And when we are applying it to the whole 6 senses, probably rich area is there when eye contact, when ear contact, when nose contact, when tongue contact, body contact, and the mind contact. So when that contact is available, feeling arises. When you are looking at someone, feeling arises. When you hear a sound, feeling arises. When you smell a particular odor, feeling arises. So likewise, each and every sense basis, whenever they going through some sort of sense impingement, then the feeling arises. So you can even apply that to that very sense basis and recognize how feelings arise. Now if we go a little deeper, how about the nama rupa pacca salayatana? So that is more difficult. Now that is going more towards the chittanupassana, dhammanupassana level for you to understand how nama rupa conditions salayatana and how vijnana conditions nama rupa, and the interconnectivity between the consciousness and the nama rupa. So these are little, we can say, advanced level. Not the ordinary level. So you need to have fairly careful attention for you to understand how these name and form conditions salayatana. So if we take the previous example, say you are meditating, that is quite boring. So time is coming for the tea. So a image of tea coming to the mind, hot tea, kind of smell you feel and so slowly a mental image appear in the mind. You can't have a quick action. So kind of image of a tea has to come. And you remember you were enjoying a tea in the morning. Ceylon tea was there, and you are enjoying that. Now also you feel bored. When am I going to have a tea? So slowly. So you are now promoting that. So the name and form is where we can, roughly we can say, so that image, mental image of a tea appear in the mind. Now you are doing, adding something more to that. And it is actually producing more thinking, more mental mind consciousness. It is making it more grown type of name and form. Now you can't wait. I want to get up. I want to have it. Now, how are you getting up? Can the mind get up? So the mind has to ask this fellow, the body, Machan, get up. So he is now ordering the body. So the mind is just blunt. I mean, it can't do anything. Mind want to have, but it can't do it alone. Now it's opening the eyes. What's the time now? I mean, eyes are now operating. Now you are watching the clock. Eyes are operating now. You are watching outside whether the other fellows are still available here or only I am meditating. Now more thinking. And now you put the unlock the cross legs. Now the body start to operate, right? Now you get up. Now you start feeling. Now you start walking. Now what is this? Now slowly Salayatana is in action. So where are the initial point? Name and form. So name and form is the one triggering the whole process, but it can't do the whole thing again by itself. So it is asking the body for help. For name and form give orders for the body to operate and just go and enjoy that. So the Salayatana is in action. So name and form is at the beginning, by the way. Now, name and form and consciousness, they are interdependent. Interesting link. So more and more name and form, more and more consciousness. You can't have, simple image of a tea, not much enough. The body may not rise. You need more power. So you need to have more thinking, more tea. Very beautiful tea. So you are now coloring it. You are adding it to that. It's very tasty. You are thinking about it. Now these are all name and form and vijnana now operating together. I'm aggravating the situation. So name and form can't alone work. It needs support from vijnana. Vijnana alone can't work. It needs the support of Namarupa, name and form. Now they are working together, thinking, going on and on. Now they are now fairly come to a very powerful level. It is capable of making you get up from the seat. Now, who did these constructions? Who did these fabrications? So we are used to do that. We are ignorant. So we had the past memory, we were thinking, we were enjoying that in the morning, and we had sort of a memory, and we think using a tea I can be really happy. So likewise I have a lot of preconceived ideas using which I am fabricating the whole thing, imagining. So a lot of ignorance are underneath. Using that underneath ignorance, I do a lot of fabrications. I am adding, I am thinking, I am coloring, I am conditioning. So a lot of work is going on internally inside the mind. So the ignorance and sankhara are very much like a very versatile ground for name and form, the consciousness to really brood, to grow. They are working together, and ultimately the person gets up. Now he is walking. Now you are approaching the cup, you are approaching the tea, you are approaching the sugar, whatever it is. Now you prepare it. Salayatana pacca passu. Now you take tea to the tongue, you enjoy it. Passa pacca vedana. Now a pleasurable feeling, you crave for that. Tasty, craving, and grasping. And you close your eyes. Oh, beautiful. Now you are born jati. So it's very beautiful. You can practically apply this principle to daily activities. Whenever you are, maybe unmindfully, whenever you are doing, you are again and again undergo this process. Whenever you become kind of driven by these desires. If you look back and see how you were driven by this whole cycle, then you can analyze, okay, this is how it has grown. Things have happened very quickly, by the way. But slowly, if you are able to look back, apply yoniso manasikara, how this process has conditioned how your mind been conditioned, how preconceived ideas have come and colored the mind, then you can actually unentangle the whole process. So therefore, when you are able to understand the operation of the mind, the mechanism of the mind, so there the area, maybe Chittanupassana, maybe Dhammanupassana, where you are able to understand the name and form, the consciousness operation, the fabrication part, how the ignorance being in the latent, how it is promoting all these, then you are able to understand, reveal all these underneath the work, say background work. So, how it manifests is through the six senses. You are enjoying, craving and all things. Those are more evident. But the latent part, hidden part, you are able to reveal more closely if you are analyzing, looking back, put yoniso manasikara, looking back, and then probably you can understand how I was driven by all this process. Constantly we are going through this. Constantly this is how we are driven by desires. So since it is happening very quickly, we are unable to catch it. We are unable to comprehend it. But when enough clarity is available in the mind, so you are able to maintain some kind of a non-grasping state of mind. But time to time, again and again, we get caught up in this cycle. There you are able to understand, okay, I was able to maintain a very clear mind, non-grasping mind. There was no I there. There was no any conditioning. There was no craving. There is no grasping. But unfortunately, again, I was caught up. How it happened? Okay, I was thinking about that. I got an image of that. So you can do little kind of an analysis and understand, yes, this is how it has happened. So then you have more wisdom. More and more wisdom is there. So then you understand, okay, this is how the causality, idappacheta, this conditions that. Because of ignorance, possibility of formations, fabrications. Because of fabrications, then the consciousness, the conditioned consciousness arises. It can't do it alone, it has a name and form. Interrelationship. When it is there, then it activates the six senses. When six senses are activated, each and every sense door there's a contact happens. It produces feelings. Whenever pleasurable feelings are there, I like it, I desire that, I crave for that. When craving is there, the grasping. When grasping is there, I become that. I am in a different world. At least temporary situation, I am reborn. So each and every incident that we are enjoying through the mind, we are in a different world and being reborn to that level. So all the things that we crave for something, so this kind of a process is there. So becoming process. I want to become that. I want to enjoy that. I want to become a doctor. I want to become an engineer. I want to become a lawyer. All these things are actually imaginary, but at least we are reborn in that. Temporarily also, you can do that. In the dreams we do that, isn't it? So, the dreams we do that, in the real world also we do that. So this is, if we are able to look at that in that way, so now slowly this starts to fade away. So when you are able to maintain non-grasping mind, so then these links start to fade away. So don't think that these links are permanent. Each and every link is impermanent. So powerful teachings of the Buddha. So Buddha mentioned, can't remember the exact terms, khayaya, vayaya, viparinamaya. So it's fading away. It's vaya means what's the English term? Fading away, say waxing, wearing out. So more and more wisdom is arising, all these individual links start to fade away. So in a way we can say, if you are able to maintain kind of a non-grasping mind, free from any craving, free from any grasping, so we are generating a conducive environment for the fading away of this birth cycle, fading away of this samudaya part, the Patissamuppada samudaya part. Now we are not generating that. We are not promoting that cycle, the old habit. We are not promoting. It's going against the grain. So far in the long samsara, we were promoted that. We fed that. We have strengthened that. We have strengthened all the desires. But now with the practice, we are able to stop that at least temporarily. So therefore, don't underestimate that moment. When you are able to be in that non-grasping state, whole gamut of latent tendencies we are not promoting. Just be, appear like simple. All these relationships we have stopped. All this conditionality we have stopped. So therefore it's a kind of a rich field. Therefore it is a very powerful state. Okay, with that I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon. So thank you very much for attentive listening. So these are for your reflection. Just while you are practicing, just reflect how these conditions are really operating, how we are able to at least temporarily stop them. So it's a very rich area for us to reflect. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, fine. Okay, no problem. Okay, now today we have spent some time and now we have received sharing of merits. Yesterday's lunch dana was offered by Manisha Samarajiva, Harshani Samarajiva and Kumari Vijayaratna on memory of passed away relatives. Today breakfast dana was offered by Takshila Edirisingha in memory of late parents and to invoke blessings to family members. And again today lunch dana was offered by Kamala Pereira in memory of her late husband P.B. Dharmadasa and late parents. And again we get a news that our retreat organizer Dilhara's mother passed away. So with all these merits we accumulate today so far. So let's share these merits with all the passed away relatives. We share these merits with all the celestial beings. We share these merits with all the beings who are in need of merits. And again we'll wish these merits help us to attain path, fruition, nibbana. While keeping these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanam. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanam. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang chirang rakhantu mam parang. Idang vo ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idam vo ñātīnaṁ hotu sukitā huntu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo. Sataṁ samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo. Sataṁ samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māmi bāla samāgamo. Sataṁ samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.